When you're simplifying algebraic fractions, probably the easiest way to do it is see if you can factorise either the numerator or the denominator and then look for things that you can cancel. So I'm going to do this first question two different ways and show you how one way helps stop you from making mistakes. Now the way I'm going to choose is to actually factorise the top. I can see that all three of these terms have the factor of 2 in common. So I'm going to bring a 2 out the front of some brackets and then think 2 times something will give me what's left. So 2 lots of 2x will give me 4x. 2 lots of minus 1 will give me minus 2. And 2 lots of positive 14y will give me this plus 28y. Now on the bottom I just rewrite what I have. At this point it's really obvious that the 2's can cancel. Now the reason this method helps you is because here we have 2 times, there's a little invisible times there, and it means that when we divide the top by 2 and divide the bottom by 2, we're dividing the entire top, every single thing in it. You can't pick and choose which of these terms you can divide by. You have to divide all of them by something or don't divide any of them at all. Let me give you an example here. If this question had actually said, let's just use a different colour. If it had said 4x minus 3 plus 28y over 2, some people get tempted to say, oh, I can halve this one and halve this one and leave this one alone. Now, all three terms are part of the numerator. So if you're going to divide the numerator in half, you have to divide every single thing that's in it. So that strategy really just doesn't work. Even very, very simple ones, people often get confused in doing work like this, where they see something like this and say, all right, this is half. If I divide this by 3x and divide this by 3x, then I'll just get this. And it can't happen. The top part of this fraction is the whole 3x minus 2. So if you're going to divide something by 3x, you need to divide both things by that same number. So factorising first just helps stop us from making a mistake. Now you can also, to choose another method, which I'm going to do in red, it can be quick and simple, and it's tempting to try and just pick things out and cancel. Now as long as you cancel out of all of the terms, you will be okay doing this, but just let me show you where one of the pitfalls lies. If you say, all right, I'm going to divide this by 2, divide this by 2, and divide this by 2, thereby cancelling out the 2, here you'll have 2x. You need to remember to divide this in half to get your minus 1, and then divide this in half to get your 14y. Now the place where most people come unstuck here is it's very tempting sometimes to just think, oh, I'll just cross things out. And then they're gone, almost like they've disappeared. And it's common for people to cross this part out and think it's just gone away and not realise that when you divide 2 by 2, you get 1. You don't get 0. So I've seen people do questions like this many times and literally just cross that out. And then they write the answer is 2x plus 14y, which it's not. They've totally left this part out. So this method just helps you stop and think, if there was 3 terms here, there still needs to be 3 terms in the answer. And then you can write the answer out nice and tidy below. A question like this one down the bottom definitely needs us to factorise. Now, if you just glance at this, it might be tempting to think, and somebody who's getting this wrong will be tempted to think, oh, I know, I can just divide this by 3 and divide this by 3 and get 6 and 1, and divide this by the x's and just cross them out. That would be wrong. Let me show you why. The correct way to do it is to simplify the top by factorising it. So we have 6 lots of x minus 3. And if you struggle with this step, just remember that as you're factorising, imagine expanding it back out. 6 lots of x is 6x, and 6 lots of minus 3 is minus 18. Then just rewrite the bottom. Now it's easy to see that we can divide the whole top and the whole bottom by this x minus 3, and the answer is just 6. Whereas if we'd done it the other way, the incorrect way, let's do that in red to show what we're not going to do, and actually just gone cross out the x's and divide these both by 3, we'd get 6 minus 6, which is nothing. Okay, so the answer would actually be incorrect. So we don't want to do that. Don't pick and choose. Factorise first, then you can clearly see what you can cancel, and then you can get there with no problems.